Cassie Goldschmidt. I work for Symantec, and today I'm going to be talking about the responsibility for the harm and risk of security software. Subtitle of this presentation is Why Things Are the Way They Are, and this is the result of a book that I'm co-authoring, and it's going to be out next month. So this presentation is about vulnerabilities, risk, and who is responsible for that. In my belief is that a lot of us are responsible in different ways for the vulnerability that we see in software, right? And in order to actually conduct this talk, I may take you a little bit out of your comfortable zone. In other words, I may challenge some of the most basic assumptions you have. And this is really interesting. This is really important too. If you look, for example, when you develop software, I'm pretty sure most of you who develop software do something called regression test. Regression test is the test that you do whenever you change something in your product. You have to retest everything all over again. Why do you do that? Because when reality changes, you also have to see if all the assumptions that you had in the past are still valid. So the first assumption I want to actually challenge is, what is software? I believe we don't understand what software is, although we do software, and software underpins the infrastructure that we have in our, that we depend upon for everything that we do. So here are a couple ways that you can actually look at software. First is, does it matter? Why are we going to do that? Well, the first thing that I just said was about the regression test. But I'll give you another example which is based on research. Has anyone ever heard about this research before? Probably just seeing the picture, you actually can tell about it. Nobody. Very interesting. Okay, so this research is about putting 5 monkeys in one cage, a stairs, and then on the top of the stairs, a banana, and then a sprinkler with cold water on the top of it. As soon as the monkey sees the banana, it goes and says, all that I have to do is climb the stairs, get a banana, and I'll be happy. So as soon as the monkey puts the hand in the stairs, what happens is there's this cold sprinkler that goes in all the monkeys. The monkeys in horror look at the one with the hand in the stair and say, oh, that must be you. So they go and punch the monkey. Another monkey comes and tries to do the same thing. And the same thing happens. And the monkey gets punched again. It happens to every single monkey who tries to go and grab the banana. At some point, all the monkeys no longer try to go for the banana because they know that they're going to suffer if they do that. So the scientists then actually turn off the system. And guess what? No monkey tries to go for the banana because they know that something bad is going to happen if they try to go for the banana. And it gets more interesting. The scientist starts to replace every single monkey in the cage. And then the first monkey that gets replaced tries to do the same thing the other monkeys did before, and same result happens. The monkeys come and spank they punch the monkey, right? And the monkey learns, okay, I cannot go for the banana because, something bad will happen. Until the time that every single monkey is replaced, there's a new team of monkeys, and they're still not doing, what would be right. So it's really important to reevaluate things. So what is software? I think the most common definition of software, the one that you actually see in a lot of laws and legislation in countries, is software is a product, right? I work for Symantec. Software is something that we ship in yellow boxes, right? You go to a store, you buy, it's yours to keep, right? And that's pretty much what software is. It's just like a washer and dryer. It's something, it's much like an appliance that you have at home. There's one problem with this definition, which is whenever you have an object, a product, such as a chair, you actually have marginal cost to produce the second copy of that product, right? If you want to produce a second chair, you have to actually spend money, and that costs money. Software, true to its nature, doesn't cost more to actually produce a second copy, right? It's just a matter of copying and it's yours to keep. But that's not the way it works, right? We actually, as software vendors, we cripple software. We cripple something that software would be just because we have to sell software, right? Why we sell software? Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the future, in the next slides. But you can see that the definition of a product for software is kind of not the right definition to go with, just because, you know, software has this property that everyone could benefit from it if it wasn't for the fact that people sell software. So, the other definition that you see these days is that software is a service, right? All the SaaS, all the cloud computing. But different than a service, whenever you go to a dentist, there's so many people that a dentist can see a day. And if I go to the dentist, you cannot go at the same time to the same dentist, right? So there's some exclusivity, which is also not true for software. Actually, software is better than that. But we try to fit in this model because we have to sell software somewhere, somehow. The next definition, and this is purely academic, I've never seen any legislation talking about it, is software is a speech. I find this one very, very interesting because what they say is software is a speech because it's based on a language, right? And it has a grammar behind it. So whatever you have a grammar, wherever you have a language, must be speech. If you look at the Constitution from some countries such as the US, right, the First Amendment is something that most people know even though they have not been in the US or they are not a US citizen, which is freedom of speech. According to this definition, everything would be okay to do with software. Virus making, peer-to-peer, whatever you can think, right? But different than speech, whenever you get software, whatever you say with software happens, right? If I go in and say, I'm going to kill you, with software, when I actually type, I'm going to kill you or terminate a process, it goes and terminates the process, right? Everyone tries very used or know the words abracadabra that we use with kids to talk about magic. Most people don't know the definition of that term. It comes from Hebrew, and it says, I create as I speak. And that's pretty much what software is, right? It's whatever you say, it's going to happen. So here's the definition of software they really like. Software is a common good. A common good is something that once it's built, there's no marginal cost in order to use, the next person to use, and it's not exclusive. So in other words, the fact that I'm using also allows you to use as well. So if you see here, there's a great example of a common good, which is a lighthouse, right? Once you build a lighthouse, every ship in the ocean can use it, and the fact that one ship is using doesn't prevent the other one from using. The fact that one ship is using the lighthouse doesn't increase the cost for the other one to use. So true to its form, that's what software is. So why do we charge for software? Well, the problem is, who is going to build the lighthouse? The problem about building the lighthouse is that if I go and I build the lighthouse, I'm spending a lot of money to build it, and every one of you are going to benefit from it. So you are free riders in my lighthouse. That is called a market failure. Nobody is going to actually put money on those things, right? In software, it's kind of different because you see a bunch of crazy people such as us from OWASP who are going to do software for free. But you're never going to have the variety of software that you have today if software was just a common good, right? Common goods can also be seen as common bads, if you will. In other words, things that are not good for you. One great example is pollution. Pollution is also a common good. Pollution is a common good because it affects everybody equally, and because we are all interconnected, we are going to suffer from it, right? Whenever you think about pollution, you think about the big factories. If software is truly a common good, what I would advocate here is that vulnerabilities are also a common good, or a common bad, if you will. And they're much like pollution. Everyone is affected by the fact that we have vulnerabilities. Not only the people who use the software, but everyone else who is actually in the same environment, on the internet, if you will, is affected. We talk about the big companies responsible for pollution, but truth to be told is that all of us are responsible for the pollution in this planet.